In this video, I want to compare these three radiation detection and measurement devices and explain what each one is best suited for. First, we have the Radex from Quarta. This one is model RD1503. This is the one that has only one tube. They also make a model that has two tubes. Next up, we have the Terra from ECOTEST. This one is the Terra, not Terra-P, that you see on the internet, the yellow one. This should be the professional one. This is an older variant. The newer one has Bluetooth and a bigger screen, but this is the version before that. Basically, the difference from this one to the yellow one is this one has just slightly better specifications. And finally, we have the PM1208M. One important note about this video is that it is not sponsored in any way. These devices are mine and I bought them with my own money. In theory, all these devices do the same thing. They measure radiation levels, they measure accumulated dose, they measure the same units, they have alarms, they have backlights, they run on batteries, they have a Geiger-Müller tube. Though these devices are very different by means of how practical they are when using them in different applications. So let's start with the Polimaster. This one has very low sensitivity. What does that mean? That means that if you briefly hover a not so radioactive source like a uranium glass bead close to it, it won't do anything. It most probably won't register any change at all. This device only sees the difference in two cases. If it is exposed to a low level radiation for extended periods of time. Or second, it is exposed to very high levels of radiation. In that case, it shall react pretty quick. And if you add up those characteristics, it actually does what it was designed to do. It's a device that compared to the other two, it's easy to carry around everywhere. It also looks like a watch. When you take one of these out somewhere and tell people what they are, things get weird fast. It tells you the levels of radiation around you, slowly, in time. And if the levels are so high that they are dangerous, it will notify you. Next, we have the Radex. This has a SBM20 tube in it, which is a fairly well-known tube and fairly sensitive tube. Notice that it is not covered in any way. You can see the tube here. This is important because this tube is sensitive to both gamma and beta radiation. This means that both beta and gamma radiation register on this device. You don't know how much of each, but both register. The size and characteristics of this tube means that this device is much more sensitive than the Polimaster. So if we would take the example from before with a small uranium glass bead, if we would hover it above this one will react much more quickly than the Polimaster. And finally, the Terra. I left this one last because things are a bit more complicated with this one. It has the same tube that the Radex has, but on the back side it has a little cover that is lined with a sheet of lead to stop beta particles from reaching the tube. In the state you see here with the little cover on, this only measures gamma radiation. From one point of view this is great, because when you have the little cover on, you know you are measuring only gamma radiation. This also allows you to perform both beta and gamma measurements. You can make a measurement of gamma radiation with the cover on, then take the cover off, measure again, and the difference between the two will be beta radiation. The downside of this is that when the cover is on, you are partially blocking radiation particles. So in effect, even if this device has the same tube with the same sensitivity as the Radex, this one is slightly less sensitive. The Terra is the closest to a fine measurement device. It is the only one that can distinguish between gamma and beta radiation. To put it all in one sentence, I would take the Polimaster everywhere with me, and if I would detect something with the Radex, I would measure it with the Terra.